hidden phenomenon. It is a secret phenomenon. If everybody would remember everything that was happening to them, they'd find ways to stop it. That can't be allowed. That's why people don't see, if a person is underneath a UFO and they're looking up at it, you'd think other people would see that. And Marie, the whole thing is, as I try to explain to young A, is totally crazy.
You're telling me?
Right. So other people don't see it, though.
It's getting crazier and crazier. The more you find out, the more it's deep and deep, and there's more to it than.
I've spent since 1982 to the present day, virtually every day of my life studying the subject, but or else watching television. Those things. But my poor wife, and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, has put up with this. I've been involved with UFOs since 1966. Which is only 3 years after we got married.
That was probably just when I started having my experiences.
But the point is that other people don't see it because they can't see it. I had somebody who was
Some do though, not everybody.
It happens every once in a while. That is an error.
Because in Mexico there was thousands of people, saw a few, and everyone was looking up, but only half of the crowd could see it. Could see them. It was like a full fleet, but people said, I can't see them, I can't see them.
Special, be careful.
But they were on film, so they were there.
Be careful of those films.
Yeah.
When you get hoaxes with UFOs, they're always in photographs and films. Always. Yeah. And in this digital era, it really takes an
You can't really believe anything.
And I've seen some of those Mexican films, and I've had a friend who was named Bruce McAfee, who's been a UFO researcher for thousands of years, and he was able to show positively that one of them, a huge UFO going behind buildings, was a fake.
Yeah. Oh, I know there's so many fakes. I'd say 99.9%.
Yeah,
you know,
and they all come in photographs and.
You know. It's hard. It is really hard to catch anything on film. I've tried loads of times, and if you do get it on film, it gets corrupt on the camera. You can't upload it. It gets lost. I uploaded a clip on YouTube, and YouTube, the whole screen went off. I actually recorded it green. I wouldn't even upload the clip of film. That's not even on the camera.
Works. Usually what happens when you try to film something is it's a lot smaller than you thought it was. There's reasons for that, which I won't go into right now, but it's not hocus pocus. And there's the point is that, for example, to go back to what I was saying before, I had a guy who was abducted when he was a graduate student at Princeton University. He was living in a dorm directly on campus, not somewhere away from it, directly on campus. It was 12 noon. He was in his room studying. He was floated directly out the window, and it's just 12 noon. And right in the middle of the day out, and he could look down there, all these students walking not that far below him, who would have seen him fly out the window. And nobody even looked, nothing, just...
Well, that's why people say, how come nobody else sees us? I don't know. My car used to go, and my windscreen would be cracked, and I'd be 2 hours late, or my antenna would be gone, and I'm still driving the same 20 minutes, and didn't see anything different whatsoever on the main road like this, and nobody else would see anything.
Right, and of course that's just...
Well, I didn't know, I just was late, and my husband was saying, why are you 2 hours late all the time, and getting suspicious, and I'm like, well, I don't know, I was just driving.
Right, exactly.
I wouldn't even remember.
In order for this to be secret, they have to keep it secret from you first. Otherwise...
Why do they let you see things? Because I've seen things while I'm awake as well. Mine aren't dreams or while I'm asleep.
The error is, I'm into errors these days. The problem is...
I think they do it on purpose.
It's a mistake.
I think they do it on purpose.
The mistake is they did not have you under total complete control exactly in the right amount of time, and they got you back into normal control a little too early. That's how people remember the first few seconds or the last few seconds.
Nothing in the middle.
Nothing in the middle. But all the other experiences they have had, they remember nothing about.
Oh, I know they do. And I used to think it was at night, so you sleep for hours, you wake up, and you're gone then. But I've realised now it could be any time. It could be both sitting here.
The majority,
and you're back, and you don't even know.
The majority of cases that I've looked at, which is approximately 1,200. Now that's not with that many people, but I've worked with them for decades sometimes. The majority are not when they're asleep, and although they might be watching television in their bedroom or something like that, but the majority is not when they're asleep. It's a thin majority.
I used to think
It's
so.
like
I used to think
it's like 55-45 or something, or 60-40. It's a thin majority.
So I started
But
staying
it's-
awake all through the night. So I knew it was always 2, 3, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So I got used to staying up at night. I
The
thought,
answer
I'm
to
gonna get
that
a lot of
is,
sleep.
do what's best for you. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I know that now.
They're good, right? Yeah.
I know
Just go
that
to
now.
sleep when you need to go to sleep.
Oh, I do now. Yeah, I do.
Some people stay up all night long.
No, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't scare me. I'm not scared at all. I used to be. I lived in fear for
Absolutely.
years, for a long time, because I thought it was evil spirits, demons. I thought it was the devil, basically, because that's
I've
what
had,
I thought it was. When I was little, I used to think
I worked with
being a Catholic, and that's what they say.
Right. I worked with 5 people who were extremely religious, ministers, chaplains, people like that, and people who were really into religion, and they recognized right away, this doesn't seem to be religious.
It felt evil. It felt really evil to me because I remember waking. This is when I first started realizing what was happening. I felt something in the room, and it felt completely evil. I just didn't want to see it. I just kept my eyes closed.
Right.
I was paralyzed, but I could open my eyes, and I just kept saying, I don't want to see it. Whatever it is, I do not want to see it. I don't want to see it. But in my mind, it was evil, and I'm not religious. Don't believe in Satan. Or
Well,
anything
no,
like that.
that's
But in my
evil,
mind,
you
it
don't
was
have to be
this is
religious.
Satan.
Yeah,
I was like, why am I thinking this is Satan? I don't even believe in Satan. But
Right.
that's what was in my mind for when I was a teenager. All those
Sure,
years.
absolutely,
And that's what it felt like to me.
It makes
Or
sense.
that was put into my head because that wasn't my thought. I wouldn't have thought Satan automatically. That wouldn't have been my first.
But the fact is that people deal with it in a lot of different ways,
Yeah.
what we'll do here today is just to try to see exactly what happened on a minute-by-minute basis, or, chronologically, if at all possible, and together we'll choose.
I know 2 exact times when I know for a fact there's missing time.
Well, there's an awful lot of stuff that you have in there
Yeah.
that's, let's just say, suggestive. It's my
Yeah.
code word.
But I thought, is it not better to go back to time when you remember? Because I remember what happened. My daughter woke up screaming. She'd had
The question is
nightmare,
this.
and then we saw the light, and then 5 hours.
There is that, and the question is this. In a normal situation, when I take somebody on, and this is going to be a little different, and young Hay might be able to take somebody on eventually, but or tomorrow. When I take them on, I usually have them come, if at all possible, a minimum of 6 to 10 times. Now, they can stop anytime they want because I don't charge
You
any.
can get a whole picture then, I suppose.
They get more used to it.
Yeah.
They then get more accurate in what they're remembering,
Yeah.
and they then begin to understand the meaning of what's going on.
Because you get sort of the end before the middle and bits like that, so it
That's
doesn't make
it.
sense till you get the beginning bit
I
maybe.
try to get the beginning bit if at all possible. In a first session, like we're going to have a first session, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than other sessions, but we'll just work around it. And then the other question is, do you really want to go to an event that might involve your daughter?
I think they all involved my daughter, to be honest.
Well, before you were married, before you had a kid?
Oh, before, that was very traumatic. The person, my boyfriend that witnessed something then
That was
saw
around
something.
1998?
Yeah, no, that was in 1979.
Okay.
I was only 18.
Okay, you
So that's
skipped
it.
from 79
Yeah,
to
there's
98.
nothing really major, like I had sleep paralysis, bits and pieces, but nothing big that I can remember.
That's right, yeah, that's
So
right.
I'd rather go to the ones where I know I was awake, I know it happened, I know for a
Well,
fact
because
that,
now normally in
I
a
don't like
first
relying
time
on
session,
things.
which is oftentimes most difficult,
yeah.
people are scared to death of hypnosis until they do it once with me. Then it never occurs to them to even think about it again because they realize, wait a second, I'm just lying here and he's asking me the dumbest questions I've ever heard in my life. I'm not going to answer those questions, and or I just, they.
No, I trust your judgment.
You will be.
Yeah.
You'll understand. You're in total and complete control.
Yeah.
Total, as you'll see. But it is more difficult oftentimes the first time, and especially with hypnosis. And you never quite did hypnosis before. You told me this these two characters from that group.
Oh, MASH, yeah, they arranged something. His name's Tom Ryan. I looked him up and he has got a profile and he is a bit well known. But the day I went over to do it, they didn't tell me it being cancelled, obviously, you know, and let me turn up, and I prepared myself, and then they said they'd had information that he was out to deprogram people and put information in my head. And
That's right, yeah.
they had, the source they had it from was ridiculous, so the whole outfit was ridiculous now that I know,
But they also put you on television or something like that?
we did some, yeah, it was a lot, yeah.
Awful.
Horrible, yeah.
You know, sometimes these people have good intentions and they have no idea what they're doing.
I think that's probably 50% of it, yeah, they have no idea what they're doing.
And then there's people who have bad intentions, don't know what they're doing.
I think it was a bit of both, I don't know, it was probably 50-50 or
Well,
25% of 4 different things. So.
here in the UK, there's not a whole lot of specialists in this area.
I've realised how pathetic the whole scene is. It's
pretty awful.
absolutely, it's ridiculous, it's horrendous, absolutely ridiculous.
It's not all that much better in the United States, and the main problem is that when people do abduction research, it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time.
It expands
It also
out
takes
into everything, this is the thing.
It expands into everything. It takes a lot of learning. People who are hypnotists who have a certificate in hypnosis, now there's, in the United States, there's lots of ways to get it.
Oh, you can get one for £300 here. It's a 3-hour session.
In the US.
Yeah, it's
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's what everybody's doing now.
And you're a certified hypnotherapist. My friend Rodney,
I was going to do it myself.
who I'm going to see in a few days, who lives out near Wales. If that's for me, I'm not here.
Hello?
Strange.
Credit card balance.
Pardon? Yeah, everything is okay here. So.
Never call
Okay,
you
thank you
again.
very much. Okay, thank you.
Calling to check.
Just to check everything is okay.
Who knows what's going through their minds? 2 men and a woman, you know.
No, I explained it was me. I said it's a meeting being recorded for a lecture next week, and my flat's noisy, so.
So, Rodney?
So, he's a certified hypnotherapist.
Oh, I see.
Thank God he never practiced it. It's a high school graduate, isn't it?
Why did you borrow his certificate?
It's quite easy. I was reading up on it. I can't fathom how it can be easy, but apparently it's quite easy.
My colleague Bud Hopkins, who is a great pioneer in this area, trained me by having me sit in on sessions and copying down every word. The great man.
Yeah, I heard how you met him. I think it's quite funny. Yeah.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
He learned how to do hypnosis because he would take abductees to a psychologist who did hypnosis, and he listened to what she said, and he realized, I could do this, and he could.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Better than psychologist.
I'm going to do hypnosis here, in quotes, hypnosis for want of a better word. I now have another word for it, facilitated recall.
That's a good one.
Although it's a mouthful when a shorter word will
But
do.
it makes sense, because that's what it is, really.
Right. And you will, quote, go into a trance, if there was, that's a misnomer, if ever there was such a word, as you will immediately understand. Most people say, Dave, I don't think I'm hypnotized. And the answer is, it doesn't matter, lay back down. And it doesn't.
Because it's been banned from TV here, these magicians now, you know, they hypnotise the audience. But in Dublin, they hypnotised the audience in a live show, and they turned everybody into leprechauns and made them all dance around. But they escaped, and they were all running down the street. And apparently they have repercussions afterwards, and they couldn't get them out of the trance. Oh, there's loads of things going on. It's all over the news.
Yes, I don't want to sound bad.
Yeah.
The thing is that, what was I going to say? I do hypnosis with somebody. I tell them in the first 2 sessions, I would prefer to work alone with them. However, after 2 sessions, you can pick anybody you want to come. 99.9% of them want to just stay alone because it is a little delicate at times. So I hope that you understand that the situation. But I will do an induction. Young Hay will hear every single word that I say. He will be bored stiff, and you'll be laying there.
Probably not doing research. It might be interesting for him.
In other words, he will not be affected, and yet he's hearing the same words. How do you explain that?
Yeah, how do you explain that?
So, as I tell people, hypnosis is, by actual scientific measurement, 1/bazillionth of a millimeter away from being completely fraudulent altogether. So,
You're under my power.
so, but people are worried to death about that until the first time, and that's it for them. They're not worried again. However, remembering something that you shouldn't remember, and you're not supposed to remember, and your brain has been organized artificially not to remember it, is difficult. And that's why the first session sort of opens the gates a little bit and will allow for the stuff to come through, and then in the second session it's a little bit easier, and the third session it's easier. In the fourth session, people are into it. And so that's sort of the mechanics of it. But we're going to do our best in this one session, and maybe you can take over later on and all that. And you'll see that what I'm asking will be just, as I said before, perfectly logical and chronological. I'm not going to be asking any crazy ass questions or anything like that. And we'll see what you can bring up, see what you can remember, you know. Let's keep our expectations low for this session. If anything shows up, fine. If nothing shows up, okay, that's life in the big city. 100 pounds gone.
No, I met you. That's enough.
The pressure is on me, though.
No pressure.
But you do remember quite a lot. Now,
Yeah.
everybody who comes to me remembers something's going on that have been nagging them
It's
for
going
years.
on for years, and you can't not go through your life and not have some anomalies and something strange happen.
Well, we
It's-
know
yeah.
that there. For example, we did a poll in the United States of how many people have abduction experiences, and we know that it starts in infancy and goes into old age.
Yeah.
And this is sponsored by one of the richest men around, a guy named Bob Bigelow, who owns
Wow.
half of Las Vegas.
He's doing all this space exploration stuff.
He's a
isn't
space
he?
explorer now. He's building rockets he's building hotels in space. He's rockets to building a
He's
destination.
got a monopoly on all this now, I think.
He's. One time I'm driving around with him. He says, "You know, Dave," he says, "I own a lot of apartment units. They're really a jag on me, these apartment units. Yeah, it's like this side thing. He's got these apartments. It's just
So much more trouble than the
it's
worst.
a small trouble." I said, "Well, how many apartments do you own?" He said, "About 7,000."
Well, you're on spaceships.
As they say in the United States, it's chump change. It's just
Loose
change you have in your
change,
pocket.
That's what the Arabs say as well.
Right.
I'll just go to the bathroom and I'm ready then.
Okay.
I hear a
let's-
little bit of drilling here. Will it be okay? Will it be
No,
okay?
this is fine. No,
Well-
This, yeah.
I just heard that, yeah.
No
It
problem.
reminded me
Oh,
of
is
home.
that, oh, that's why.
So that's quite soundproof if we
Good,
need it.
good, good. Yeah.
I checked it yesterday, because the noise was the one thing I was looking at.
So what we're going to do is close
Oh,
these.
so it's
Check
dark.
those dark and a little light on somewhere else. Close these with string where you just pull them. That's good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little.
Do you want to make the room darker?
Yeah, we'll do that in a few seconds. I'm going to
Okay,
talk with you
yeah.
first about what we're going to look at. And let's see. I'll do that a little bit later.
You want to make?
I don't want to be on right next to you there, so
Darker? Is
we
it?
have some
You know,
space.
dark,
Yeah, that's fine.
bright.
Yeah, you can turn off
You
that
can turn it
light.
off.
Just turn it. We'll turn
This
those
one
lights
here?
down a little bit later. But Marie, what we have to do here is decide exactly what we're going to look at.
Okay.
So, oh no, we're not. The first thing you're going to do, if you don't mind, is sign my release.
Okay.
And I'll read this thing to you. It says that you give me permission to publish any material in my that I have pertaining to you and your UFO experiences, and that of you or your children. This permission includes hypnotically recollected information, as well as gathered through more conventional means, such as non-hypnotic interviews, letters, and telephone conversations. Every sentence here has a history to it. The information can be gathered by means of monitoring and recording equipment, including video, audio, magnetic, infrared, and any other kind of recording devices. I have no idea what infrared devices devices might be. But
Even cameras up there, maybe.
I guess. Who would want something like that? David M. Jacobs may publish or use this information in any book, article, publication, or media of his choice. I agree not to play any tapes or videos of hypnotic sessions in public without my permission.
You don't have to read it all, just say yes.
Every sentence has a history.
Been there, not going there again.
Right. One guy he would come to sessions and he would play them in a public meeting that he had, and here I am doing hypnosis with this poor woman who was his girlfriend at the time, and he's playing them in public.
That's what Miles Johnson does, everything you tell him on the phone, it's in his next presentation.
No. And without my permission. To the best of my ability, I agree not to make public who you are, your identification in any way, including your name, your address, your name and addresses of your family, or of your employer, unless you specifically request that I do so. And I have never done it, even when people have specifically requested that, because they might change their mind when it's too late. So I have never done that since 1986 when I started doing hypnosis. I understand that I am not a professional hypnotist. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist. I am a non-professional, in other words, some guy off the street, helping me to remember the events that might have happened to me. I assume full responsibility and release him from all liability for any physical or psychological problems that I might have during and after the memory recovery process. Okay. Every line has a history.
Oh, I bet. So, all those people.
You got to sign this thing here. And I should have brought 2 copies. I only have 1 copy because I signed it also. And you can date it right underneath somewhere. But this protects you, and it protects me to a degree. Now, there is a woman who is...
Well, I'm doing it to help research as well, so I'm fine with you using any material that you can, that you find useful.
Yeah, I can use it, right, but I just want to say who you are. You don't want to call us at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean?
I'll have them on there. After the stupid Channel 4 thing.
Yeah.
They're still going on about it online.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's in every forum and whatnot. Because it's not only against me, it was against the whole UFO community, really. You know, how they're dumbing it down and anything, we're not letting anything out. So, a lot of the UFO people take it personally. Well, that's what it was, really. Just not to have it on TV, because they lied. It was supposed to be a serious documentary.
Yeah.
So everyone was quite excited about it. Not just me, it was everybody, the whole UFO community in England. And now, when they've seen what they've done, you know, it's a bit disgusting to everybody. So I'm sure there'll be a snowball effect somehow.
Well, nothing like that is going to happen in this situation. This will just be for your knowledge only if you want to tell people about it.
Yeah, this is purely for me now. I know I'm not going to get any information from UFO researchers. They don't know more than we know, basically, you know. That's
if
what's
you
in
guessed, you would know more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And they love putting ideas into your head, what it is, this is what's wrong with you, this is what's happening.
That's for you to tell me, not for me to tell you.
No, that's not what's happening at all.
Now I have here my questionnaire, and young Hay was kind enough to give me some notes that he had from you also. But I'm going to just use my questionnaire here.
There's still a lot I need to fill in for you. I haven't filled in like chronology and things. Do you want to put the light on? Will that help?
No, it's fine. I can see it, kind of. I have some ones that I've marked here with the letters NB, young A. That means nota bene, note well. I learned that in college. This was January 2013. Cinema with boyfriend. Wine spilled. Went to wipe it up. Everything was dry.
Yeah,
but it was 3 hours later.
Yeah.
Now this was just last January.
It was, yeah, that's fairly recent.
There is, which is okay for this. I mean, it wasn't last night, for example, which is okay. Next day, he had this. He had a real serious problem. Now this is not the
Do you want to lie down? Do you want to lie down? Can you read it?
Oh, no,
Just for a few minutes,
it's
yeah.
okay.
Oh, is it too bright?
That's okay. I'll turn it off in a few seconds. Then we have another one with an NB, which means this was July of this year. Stay awake all night like a child, laptop, bed, watch TV, suddenly up, and it was in the morning, laptop on the cupboard.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't do that. Neatly wrapped cord.
See, those are minor things to me, really. So those
Well,
things
they're
happen a
indicative
lot.
to me.
Yeah.
So this is another one that you might want to look at, see what the heck happened there, because
So that's things like that have happened loads of times, but I don't remember anything. So that's why I don't call them a main event, really.
when something like that happens, you just want to jot it down, keep it
Yeah.
journal.
I started keeping journals and writing things down, but it just gets to be a pain, and I started so many, and you forget. Like,
Yeah, that's the problem. That sometimes they can add up. Then I have here another one. This was your sister died 3 weeks before. She was beaten.
Well, what happened? Yeah, we had a New Year party. All my family came from from Ireland, and went to my sister's house, and she lives in East London. This is why I've got a bad memory of East London.
Gosh.
And her daughter just went out to buy some ice, and she was mugged by two black people in a corner. And because we called the police, they just attacked the house. About 30 of his friends. They just called all the friends. And the police, just because they were understaffed, it was New Year's Eve, they actually were outside looking. And I sort of says, you know, what are you doing? You know, do something. And they arrested me. So I was the only one person arrested on the scene. And 6 of my family ended up in hospital. They broke into the house with balaclavas and weapons, and my family, they didn't know how many we had in the house, you see. They only saw my sister, myself and my niece. They didn't realise we were having a party and had all my family there, but we just kept them out. They just kept them out of the house, and all my family were just hurt with their arms, and that's all, you know, the wounds that they had were just keeping them out.
Do people sue the police here?
I did take out a case against the police,
Good.
yeah, and but it went on so long. And then they said he left the police force. He moved to Australia, so there's no
It
point.
doesn't matter. You're not suing individually.
Exactly, that's what I said. But it just went on too long, cost me too much money, and I ended up dropping it. But
that's what they were hoping for. I'm
oh,
sure.
that's what they do. The same thing's happening now with my daughter as well. That's been covered up as well. You know, so. Yeah, she died. She was hit on the head, and she died with brain cancer exactly a year after. So she never actually recovered after the
So
injury.
she was basically in the hospital most of the time, or
No, she was in and out, in and out. Yeah, she got bad towards the end because they did say cancer had developed then, and it was just waiting for it to get worse, basically. So she was fine, really. The wound healed up. So she was fine for maybe 6 months, and then about 3 days before she died, she said, "Call me an ambulance." She knew something.
Yeah, right.
And that's the night before she died, or 2 nights. That's when I saw the huge triangle craft, and that was just
probably
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the fact that it was coincidental with your sister's demise it probably wasn't related.
Oh, I don't think it was related, no. But I know, I'm just, because of the dates, how, you know, that's how I remember it so vividly, yeah, because I know it was just, we just got back from the hospital, and my uncle was actually next door sleeping, but he's got sleep apnea, so he wears a mask, and once he's out for the night, you can't wake him up. So I was thinking, do I look? Do I get my camera? Do I knock on the wall? What do I do, you know? So in the end, I just watched it myself, because I've ran for the camera before and you miss them, so I don't care if I get it on film. I just prefer to watch them now myself. If I can get it on film, I will.
Sounds good to me.
Because you don't get much anyway, little stupid thing. It means
well, the problem is that people see these amazing things, they take a film of it or a picture of it, and it's basically a light in the sky at night.
Exactly. But the one, I thought I filmed this triangle for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was out the window filming it. I remember it recording, I remember everything. But on my phone, it's literally a 20th of a second of too light. And I must have dropped my phone basically on the floor or something.
Yeah.
And I know now that I was taken that night, but I thought I wasn't. It was a clear memory to me. It was really
and the
strange.
question was it before or after? If you know you were taken, that you took the picture.
Ages after, about a year after it came to me.
No, you said you had taken...
See, I can't remember looking for my phone or grabbing my phone. I remember when it left and I was thinking, oh my God, that was amazing. I was left really happy. I was just so happy and elated and thinking that was just amazing. I watched it come out, watched it go really slow and watched it go away. And then I think I said, oh, I've got it on film. And then I must have went to get my phone and thought, oh my God, what's this? It's nothing stupid, you know. But then about a year later, I remembered it wasn't, that's not what happened at all. That's not what happened at all.
We can certainly do that.
So that's a definite. I mean, I was awake. I was at the window smoking a cigarette. I wasn't sleepy. I was wide awake, thinking about my sister and thinking, you know, I hope she's not in too much. We knew she was going to die, so I wasn't saying I hope she doesn't die, but because we knew she was. So I was just hoping it would be not
now
bad.
This is the event that happened just. Okay. I'm a little confused here. That was the different one that we started talking about. But the one that was just 3 weeks before, this was 3 weeks before you died when she took the picture.
It was actually only a few days before, a couple of days before she died. It wasn't
woke up
3
suddenly
weeks.
in bed, 7 o'clock in the morning, hardly, you thought you'd only slept for 1 second and it happened again. This was 2000.
That was within the same time, after the funeral. My sister died. I went to my mum's for a few days and then I had that experience. That's never happened to me before. I've never felt out of body before, but this was violent. This was like, and like threw me really fast. Like I felt myself. Like the first time I was right over there by the door, and the second time it happened when I went back to sleep at 7, it happened again. I'd literally only closed my eyes and it happened again, and it did feel like something came in my head. I could feel it and ripped me out like 300 miles an hour. It was really fast and threw me against the wall. And I remember hitting the wall, and I expected. Then I woke up, and I expected to find myself down there, you know, behind the bed. It felt so real. But I was just in bed.
We can certainly do that one. This was the one that was in 3 weeks before your sister died in 2010.
Yeah.
And woke up suddenly in bed, felt awful scared. And
there's this horrible feeling that I used to get. It's like a feeling in my stomach that in my sleep I can feel it's happening, it's coming. I can feel it coming while I'm asleep. And I try to wake up. And I can't.
Yeah, people describe things like that.
I can feel it coming before it comes, and it's like a horrible wave and a really sick feeling, and I'm thinking, oh no, not this again. And you're trying, then you're paralysed then down on the bed, and it comes so quick. It's like you get a warning, but it's just too quick to do anything about it. Then it's there.
Now, this was also the event where you found the fist-sized meteorite.
Meteorite, yeah,
in the
that's
garden.
the same time, yeah, same day, next morning. It was
How
there in
did
the
you
garden.
know to look?
Because my auntie had arrived the day before me, and her and my mum had done, well actually the afternoon, not the day before me, the afternoon. I arrived in the evening, and they'd done the flower bed in the garden. They'd been working all day. So when I got there in the evening, they were telling me, done the flowers, all lovely, and I couldn't see, it was too dark. So they took me out to show me in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'd already told them, I'm going to have this horrible thing in the night, blah, blah, blah. And then we went out to see the garden, and then all the flowers were destroyed, and there was I don't think it fell really far because the crater wasn't that big, but it was about a dustbin lid size, and the flowers were all gone.
Yeah.
And they were like, what the hell happened here? And I said, oh look, it's a meteorite. And like, it can't be, somebody must have thrown it. And I'm like, somebody must have thrown it, look at the garden.
You still have it?
Oh yeah, I still have it. I should have actually, I meant to bring it, but
because like I said, you know, those things can be, depending on what the content is, if they have a lot of iron in them,
yeah,
they can be extremely heavy.
Oh, this is really heavy it's for like a normal stone wouldn't be that heavy. It's quite heavy. It's about 3 kilos. It's really heavy. It's quite heavy.
Some of them have a large nickel content, and I think those are the more valuable ones. I'm not sure, but look on eBay.
Yeah,
you find there's hundreds of them for sale. Yeah. But you also learn a little bit about
there's all sorts of things. You can I zoomed in on the photographs. It's got little tiny bits of just different colours, little blue bit, little green bit, and it's a bit magnetised in some places.
Well, oddly, you're very lucky to have that. It's probably got nothing to do with this event, actually, but because we don't.
It's just coincidence
Isn't
again.
it coincidence?
There's too many coincidences.
Well,
lucky she's alive.
Yeah, you are.
And
Actually.
funny thing, I stay in my same bedroom when I go home, and the window's here, and the flower bed is here. If that had been 3 feet more, it would have come right in my window and hit me in the bed.
God.
It was that short a distance. I mean, even as short as this room, you know. That's how short it was, a few feet, and it would have come in my window.
There are cases when where a meteorite has hit somebody's house and gone right through the roof.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that was close.
But they're rare. They are rare.
It was just a bit of a coincidence. Oh god, yeah, this happened last night, and now I found this.
Well,
that was a major event for me, 2010. So I'd like to do that one.
That's
I think
okay.
that's, yeah.
All right. Now, what you've written here is 3 years ago, sister, mother. Okay. 3 days before, I was saying bed, mother for a few days after the funeral. Oh, your sister.
It was all in the same week or two, yeah.
It was around 3 o'clock in the morning. You fell asleep, and within seconds felt a horrible, familiar, sick feeling coming over you. Childhood memory, and I remembered I hadn't had that for many years.
Yeah,
It's like horrible sick
feeling.
wave, and then so you were feeling some sort of effect.
It's like an old, familiar, horrible feeling in the pit of your stomach. It's not a nausea sort of feeling. It's just really hard to describe, and it's like dread, like a real horrible feeling of dread. And
I have that almost every day.
But this is like it's like a wave at the same
just before I get out of
time.
bed. What does the day hold for me?
It's like a wave at the same time, and I'm thinking, oh no, it's coming. I know it's coming. There's something coming.
Something's
I know.
gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. You can feel it.
And something sort of yanked you out fiercely and fast, and you felt you were thrown across the room and landed by the door. Violent and so fast that we can move here. I did try to get to my mom's room, and actually did get
That
there.
went really slow, and I was trying my heart. I'm trying to scream, and it's like you use all your power and energy. It just exhausts you trying to speak or something. And it seemed to take me forever to get to my mum's room. And I remember her house quite big, it's a long landing, and she's right at the end. And her door was open and her TV was on. She was just asleep on the bed, and there was some chocolates there, I remember. But then I woke up back in bed as soon as I got there, and I ran down, and that's exactly how she was with the TV on. So it was exactly the picture I saw. And then I didn't wake her up. I just went downstairs, made a cup of tea, and stayed awake.
And you stayed awake until light.
Until it got light, yeah.
And then it was 7 o'clock.
I feel safe sort of when it gets daylight sometimes.
Yeah. But you were hardly asleep 1 second when it happened again.
Again, yeah, same thing again. That really surprised me.
This time thrown against the wall really violently, and it felt like something just came in your head and yanked you out. It did not feel voluntary. It was violent, forceful, and awful. Next morning you found, that's when you found the meteorite the next morning, right. Let's take a look at that from 2010. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is turn off this light.
Okay.
If I know how to do that. Is this
that one might be, yeah.
This one? No, I always picked the wrong one. What I'll do is just give you some suggestions and see if we can just get you really relaxed and calm. And we'll take a look at this, and once again, we'll keep our expectations low.
Okay.
So, but there's something there, there's something there. If there isn't, there isn't. So, what I want you to do is just sort of get into a nice relaxed state by taking a nice deep breath, which I shall do myself.